on
love
the
to
show.
hear. Thank you.
And I'm so grateful you want to come all the way over here to talk to us.
Well, I'm so grateful you guys wanted me to come.
So I have a two-part question.
Okay.
You have a lot of power as you're in the show. And how do you prepare for a role to be so omnipotent in any kind of way? And also, the second part is, if you had that kind of power in reality to do one thing, what would that be?
Oh boy. Okay. So, how did I prepare to be so omnipotent? That part, I tried not to work that hard at it because I thought about the characters I've seen who seem to have a lot of power. And they all seem to hold their power in the ability to do very little and yet to accomplish a lot. They trust their power, they own their power. And I really liked letting Amara be very still. And that is not me at all in real life, so that was also good. And it also helped just after a few episodes seeing all the special effects and seeing how incredible that was gonna look. I knew that I didn't have to do that much. But I didn't really think that much about her being omnipotent as I thought about what I could connect to with her, the human connection, and that, you know, those feelings of hurt and misunderstanding and frustration. And that was a lot more helpful, because if I thought too much about her being this, you know, godly creature, that was really intimidating. And then if I had that power, what would I do? I feel like power like that is dangerous. I mean, I'd probably use it for something really stupid, like to have like an unlimited, never-ending supply of like Slurpees or something. Because I don't think I'd want to use it to like be able to read people's minds. I would learn way too much that I didn't want to know. I mean, I guess it'd be pretty great to like end war. That seems like an obvious one. So yeah, that's it, either Slurpees or war. About the same, right? Yeah. Thank you for your questions.
Okay, so watching the gag reel, it seems like there's a really great atmosphere on the show. Is it that great? And also, is it hard coming in as a new cast member?
It is that great. And it is hard coming in just because when you don't know what to expect anytime you're new on a show. And so I think several of us have had the experience of coming in and wanting to be very respectful and then realizing like everyone goofs off a lot and gets the work done, but it's a very fun set. But there's a story that I love to tell that happened when Ruth, who plays Rowena, and I were shooting that episode where we had a lot of stuff together, and we were so excited because, I mean, I love her character, and there's not many times on the show when you get to have two women in a scene together. And so we wanted to do something really funny, and we were shooting inside this big, freezing cold silo in winter in Vancouver, and of course we're ridiculous because we're both in our like evening gowns, and Ruth is wearing these heels, and the whole crew is wearing like down jackets and hats, and they all had to wear hard hats because apparently we were in danger of being hit on the head by falling debris at any moment. But the actors didn't wear hard hats. So Ruth and I were like whispering, and there was this take where Rowena's like, you know, trying to sense whether Amara is healing or not, and she's like putting her hands around my aura or whatever. And we decided that she was gonna like grab my boob, and that would be really funny and everybody would laugh. And so we were doing the take, and she did it, and there was no response. And so we just kind of like, you know, checked in with each other like in a very small way, and we just kept going with the scene, and we finished, and the director said cut, and we were like, did anyone see that? And these guys are so unaccustomed to having, you know, just women in a scene that they didn't realize we were trying to be funny. They were trying to be really respectful because they thought maybe this was an acting choice, and they did not dare laugh. You know, when Ruth was like grabbing my boob, they were like, "We just wanted to let you do it if that's what you were going to do." So that tells you something about what they're used to. But But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It has to be, because there's so much very dark, serious stuff that happens on the show. So we laugh a lot when the camera's not rolling. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to ask, I don't know if you're religious or not, but the part that you're playing is really significant when it comes to Christianity. And you're playing sort of the anti-God. How did it feel to have, like, sort of a responsibility to play this Christian thing and in front of so large a fan base?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I mean, it gave me pause, but one of the things I respect about the show a lot is that even though it draws from elements of Judeo-Christian theology, it doesn't try to be anything specifically, and I think it's been very successful at creating its own kind of mythology. And so I don't think anybody in the writing of my character was saying that my character actually exists. I think it was just more like, what if, you know? We know that there's, if you believe in a Christian God, then there is the light, so there must be the dark. What if this was the dark? What if at the beginning of time, the light, who we all know, at least in that version of events, to be the one to create the earth, and who many believe to be an all-loving God, what if it wasn't quite like that? And what if it was actually a lot more relatable? I think that in creating the darkness and ultimately making it this, what came down to a sibling rivalry, they made it a lot more relatable. And I think I think because they weren't trying to say, you know, this is the way the world was created or anything, they're just saying, this is an interesting form of this story. I think it was a beautiful gesture to kind of relate to it in a more human way. But it is tricky. It's weird. Like I still go, when I go home to visit my parents, I go to church with them. And there was one week when I was in the foyer of the church, and somebody who apparently watches the show said, "Hey, it's the darkness." I was like, whoa, no. A lot of people aren't going to know what you're talking about, and that's just weird. So I do feel like it could be kind of tricky, but I think that everyone on the show has a lot of respect for all religions of the world, and they're not trying to say that their version of events is what actually happened. They're just telling a story. So yeah, but that's a great question. Thank you.
It's a nice day.
I mean, actresses I admire who I think play really strong female characters. Of course, Meryl Streep and Kate Blanchett. And I love, now her name is eluding me, but I love the female writers who are continuing to write for women, even though they might sell their scripts faster if they, you know, put a bunch of dudes in it. And it's a tricky thing, because do I want to see more female stories and a wider representation of women? Because, you know, we also kind of get stuck in, like, we only want to have, like, young women, and there's so much more of a stigma in Hollywood for women when they get older than men. And I think that is slowly changing. But I really appreciate the women who write for women. I appreciate the women who are the ones who have power, like, you know, like Kate Blanchett, you know, playing these strong roles and taking roles that aren't compromising. But then also there's just so many women, like on the production side and doing much quieter jobs, that are slowly kind of chipping away at it. And I think it takes both things. And I don't think it's worth it to be mad at anybody, you know, and say, like, how dare you not write enough for us? I feel like we just have to keep showing people that we can tell good stories with women, and women can write good stories, and women who are watching and men who are watching want to see, you know, interesting female characters, and hopefully that'll continue to change. I want to ask you though, who are the women that you think are doing the best work with that? You don't have to answer, it's okay.
I mean, I look up to Melissa McCarthy a lot.
Yes.
She's so funny as well. And also Lily Singh, who's a YouTuber though. she's known as Superwoman online. She started like a campaign that's called Girl Love. That,
Oh, cool.
Like, it's all about women standing up for women instead of, you know, putting other women down.
Yes.
Which is a stigma that's around a lot.
Yeah, I think positive encouragement is always the way to go, rather than yelling at people and trying to like make them feel bad for doing something a certain way. When you said Melissa McCarthy, who is hilarious, that also just made me think of, you know, people like Carol Burnett and Lucille Ball, who were these pioneers and who were unafraid to be funny in these ways that were not like demure and gentle. I love really funny women, and Melissa McCarthy is really fucking funny. She's hilarious. So I'm glad you said that. Thank you.